Welcome to Game Jam. This is Bitstorm's little post-mortem of the global Game Jam that we did a week or so ago. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And we were at the Game Jam with our friend Ryan, and it was a lot of fun. And
that it was.
Yeah. All right, give me just, without giving away what our game is, because I think what we'll do is actually go over the ideas that we had and then reveal which one we went with and then talk about how it went. But what was your overall kind of experience like at the Game Jam, Trevor?
Because I'm on a diet at the moment, I didn't get to enjoy all the wonderful food that they had. I got to enjoy it the first night, and that's about it.
It's true. The food was really good.
Really well catered.
Organisation over the last year, which unfortunately just went a little bit difficult, but it was the first time in the venue last year as well, so it's sort of understandable. But yeah, this time the food kind of went off without a hitch. They could turn the lights off this time.
Not that we actually slept in that room
this time, but we learned our lesson and we just slept next to our computer.
I suppose one of the big issues that I found was not being able to use C++ like we wanted to.
That's true.
Unreal.
There were some issues around like the admin privileges.
Yep.
They'd locked down the computers, and I think that was just an AIE thing that unfortunately they didn't have control over. But
no,
no,
it'd be good if they fixed that for next year. That's my
hopefully, yeah.
Because it seemed fine for everyone using Unity, just not people using Unreal.
Yeah, I think Unreal just hooks. I mean, just C++ in general needs a bit more of the actual kind of OS stuff, and Visual Studio, needs its privileges.
Definitely. But other than that, I had a ball. Giselle ran an amazing game jam, and we're so privileged to actually have her here.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's got to be one of the best run sites out of all, whatever there is, 600 sites or something insane.
Yep.
But yeah, so for those who don't know what a game jam is, it's where we get together for a weekend at a site. The global game jam in particular, as I said, has sites, hundreds of sites all around the world. There are about, 250 people in Melbourne?
Yeah, I think there was 258 registered jammers.
Yeah. Ended up making about 60 odd games, and yeah, so we won't take it hour by hour, but we found out the theme, which was, what does home mean to you, or to me anyway? What does home mean to somebody? And we didn't get to have our traditional HSP because the food was so much better this time that we ate pizza and then were full.
Yeah. I literally ate half a pizza, and it was because it was my cheat meal. And I'm like, I really don't need a HSP after this.
No.
Not realizing, as soon as we walked down there, they're like, okay, so you can have half a pizza each. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, all right.
I just went along grabbing from everything.
I felt like in general we were a lot sort of more prepared, I guess, after having done it last year and having an idea of what we could build in the limited time. And of course we overscoped a little, but I felt like we did a pretty good job on the scope.
Yeah. And we'll get round to that.
Yeah, we get around to that. But so we didn't bother trying to record a podcast like last year, which didn't end up happening last year anyway, but we did use the random word generator, and so we kind of took that idea of what does home mean to you and threw some random words at it. And I don't think we got a bad one. Like, every time we hit refresh, we came up with another idea that we could potentially make. Yeah, definitely. It was really fun, actually. I mean, obviously, we do it every week, but, in this case, it was something we were actually going to attempt to build. And something that we all had to be kind of happy about. Exactly, happy about and comfortable with that we could achieve it. And so, yeah, I think let's go over our 5. We ended up with 5 ideas. Mm-hmm. And then we kind of all voted to decide which one we would build. So do you remember what the first one was, Trevor?
Yes, it was an RV with like faster than light mechanics or FTL.
Yeah, the
mechanics.
game FTL. Yeah, I quite like this one, and I think that it would have been too difficult to achieve in the time we had.
Yeah, I knew that you guys were sold on it. I so wasn't.
You weren't. But yeah, the general idea was that you're in an RV that's constantly moving down the street, sort of a top-down view. You've got a few, maybe 3 or 4 people in the RV. They've all got randomly generated skills, so not all of them can drive the RV. Not all of them can fix things that break. Not all of them can cook. But there would be different requirements for each of them. They get hungry, they need to go to the toilet, and so they can put the RV on cruise control. But the GPS will tell you how long until the next corner, basically. And if you don't have someone in the driver's seat, then you're going to be in deep shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, clicking around, moving your characters between stations to sort of achieve different things was the basic idea.
Yeah. And where I sort of had trouble with that is that's the sort of game mechanics that don't really interest me that much. So I was sort of not on board with that, but I know you guys were pushing for that idea.
we were into it. I've got the votes here, actually. That one did get, it got 4 votes.
It got 4 votes, yeah.
But basically we each had a 2 vote and a 1 vote that we could put on each of the ideas. And both Ryan and I put our 2 votes on that one.
Yeah.
So the second idea was the spy versus spy sort of style game.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that one a bit?
Yeah, so in an episode a little bit ago, it wasn't quite last week, but the week before, we did come up with an idea for a spy versus spy game. And because the random word bug came up, we're like, let's go with a bug that you're placing in a room, and then you can sort of do a 2-player multiplayer sort of game of going through a place trying to either set bugs or something like that, sort of on a spy.
Yeah, we had a mechanic around where there was going to sort of be a secret thing where you could interact with, a piece of furniture or a lamp or whatever, but the other players wouldn't know whether you were searching it to find one of the items you had to look for or planting a bug.
Yep.
And they also wouldn't know whether you'd found anything. And so they would have to sort of think hard about and sort of second guess you as to whether you'd planted a bug in there. I think that one would have been actually quite difficult just to get the gameplay working well. It had some interesting ideas, but yeah, I think that whole just getting that back and forth of there wasn't enough there for that sort of deception stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an interesting one.
No, it was that was quite cool. I did like some of the ideas, and we'll talk about another idea, idea number 4 that we came up with
which was sort of took
when you went out of the room.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So then the next one Ryan came up with, which was basically a portal mechanics sort of puzzle game.
Yeah, I think this one could have been quite interesting. I think the word we got was confusion.
Yeah.
And so it was all around the geometry of the level changing when you weren't looking, which we talked about for a little bit and then sort of locked onto the idea of it, being this sort of Portal-esque puzzle game where each sort of little section of the house is a specific puzzle, and you kind of just had to experiment with, that maybe there's a mirror here, and when you look in the mirror, you see there's no wall behind you, but when you turn around, the wall is there, so you have to kind of walk through it backwards while looking in the mirror or something.
Yeah.
Those sorts of general puzzles all based around the way the level changes when you're not looking directly at it.
I quite like that idea, mainly because it's got very similar things to what went on in Antichamber as well. Which is one of my favorite puzzle games for PC.
Yeah, I think it would have been really fun to play around with. And I think achievable to at least get 1 or 2
rooms.
puzzle rooms working. Yeah.
But again, it would
I
have been
realized
kind
I
of
realized that as I speak of this and I say, oh, it would have, I'm totally giving away which one we did. But anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. So then Ben left the room to talk to his kids or something.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was for.
And so I came up with another idea based around, I took the bug idea again and thought about exterminators going into a house and going up to a piece of furniture, kicking it, and all these bugs come out, and you're playing in like a co-op sort of game where you've got, up to 4 players all sort of trying to clear out the house together.
And it'd be like twin stick shooter style kind of controls.
Then we started talking about the idea that you kind of had to try and stay together, or at least because you could all see each other at once. If it was a maze-like house, you could see, oh, this person's in a lot of trouble over here. Okay, go down here and get into this room and help this person out.
Yeah, I think that's about where you got up to when I came in.
Yeah.
So you were talking about, like, because it's the top-down view, you can kind of see where they are in the level, but you can't necessarily get to them that easily.
Yeah.
And so it would be about having to communicate, making sure, like creating that balance of, because we were thinking about, we don't want them to just be able to stay together the whole time, and that makes it easy. Like there needs to be reasons for them to go off, but then also reasons for them to, in certain situations, need each other to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then idea number 5 was, I can't remember what word came up, but it was all about cleaning hotel rooms.
That's right. I'd totally forgotten about that one. I remembered all the other 4.
Yeah. And that was actually oh no, it wasn't. Nobody voted on that one. But I think just because we didn't get to sort of flesh it out a whole lot. Although I did like some of the gameplay mechanics because we're kind of talking about almost Tapper style, having to like time management where when you're in cleaning one room, there are sort of little, tapping, turning mini games or whatever you have to do to clean the room up. But you also have to be aware of, I've got 5 rooms with guests in them, or, these 3 have guests arriving shortly. So, they need to be cleaned on time and that sort of thing. So, it's almost a bit of a memory game crossed with, like the time management of something like Tapper, or just juggling lots of different tasks.
But again, I think that would have been almost impossible for us to finish in such a small amount of time.
Maybe. Look, if we'd just done like the hallway and all the rooms being identical with just sort of different
mirrored and
sections.
Yep.
We probably could have pulled something off, but anyway, I think it's been made relatively obvious that we did go with idea number 4, the kind of extermination game. But as we talked about it, we did change it up a bit.
Yeah. So one of the things that we came into pretty quickly is realizing ghosts being sort of like
that was it. We just realized ghosts.
We realized that ghosts could be a little bit more fun because they could go through walls, they could possess furniture and this sort of stuff. Not actually do anything in the furniture, but we had ideas for different like tools that you could throw out and all this sort of stuff, and it sounded really quite cool.
It did start coming together quite well, and I can't recall where it really clicked with the whole they can go through walls but you can't, and it's still this sort of maze-like level. Was it once we did that not really click until we even got the prototype going? Or had we thought of that dynamic?
I think that was early on that we did think about that. But we may have actually started the prototype, and we did sort of something that, most people don't try to do the first night, which is basically try to get an early version of the prototype working the first night.
Yeah, well, I think we had our idea by like 8 o'clock or something.
Yeah. So by 2 a.m.
not that early. I'm looking at the timestamps. Idea 5 was 8:16, so probably by about 8:30.
We'd locked it.
We decided.
We went for our walk over to 7-Eleven.
Yeah,
to get you some
snacks and stuff.
And I didn't have any of those.
Trevor was very strong the whole weekend, as Ryan and I
gorged yourself.
Yeah, like I literally didn't eat dinner one night because I'd eaten too many sour worms and vanilla Coke. So yeah, we went with the ghost idea, and yeah, we had this whole idea of tools that you could, but you can only carry one tool at a time. So things like a stasis grenade that would lock the ghost in place, so you could get off some good shots at it. Or what else do we have? Like a ghost attractor as well, to just sort of basically ways to manipulate the ghosts in certain ways so that you could take him out. And then also we really locked onto the idea of the fact that you'd need someone who has a med kit to revive your pals, the other players.
Yep.
And that, yeah, these were limited use sorts of things. And we even talked about having limited ammo and having to like run back outside to refill.
And the reason behind the tools is because we didn't think that the initial gameplay loop of just going in there and firing like a single weapon at ghosts while they sort of try to get away and all this sort of stuff would actually be fun.
Yeah, and it was just us. You know, you just come up with ideas with these things. Yep. You know, we did overscope a little in that way.
So, what's available on the Game Jam website is a slightly broken game.
Yes,
in which you don't have any tools. All you got is
one weapon that doesn't go fast enough while you're running.
Yep. But in a version that I've got now, like when ghosts hide in furniture, you get some green like regenerating particles coming off. Yeah,
basically. So let's go over the main gameplay loop so people sort of get the idea. Basically, what happens is you all walk into the house. A bunch of ghosts are there.
Up to 4 players, by the way. Like,
up to 4 players.
I'm pretty impressed with the fact that we got.
Thank you, Unreal Engine, for being, you know, so well built and relatively easy to throw this stuff in there. Although you did work on it for a while, getting it all working.
Yeah, well, it was confusing at first, and now I know how to pretty much just do it. And
yeah, but you all walk into the house. The ghosts scatter, and basically they hide in the furniture that is in each of the rooms. And now we only got 3 different types of furniture built. Although Ryan did build a bunch more, and we just didn't get time to.
Yeah. There's chairs, there's bookcases, and there's a massive fucking table. But there's still a massive fucking chair in there as well.
But the idea is that you can't tell which of these initially the ghosts are in, so you kind of have to go to each room and kick things.
Yeah.
And we talked about maybe having little hints, like they might give a little shake if you're looking in the right direction.
That's not implemented.
Because the other thing we should mention is it's very dark.
Well, it wasn't going to be.
No.
But
Ryan actually did a very nicely lit version in Blender. But we kind of just couldn't get that lighting to work well enough in Engine, because none of us are lighting artists, and it's a bit tricky. But
so what we did was dynamic lights, and there's a spotlight on each of the characters' shoulders. So it becomes like a bit more of a haunted sort of thing, and it kind of freaks you the hell out. We met some lovely guys from some of the other teams.
Nicely.
They, one guy, Angus, he offered to do some music for us. So the music that you hear in the game is done by another team's audio engineer. It was fantastic. And
Yep, he very graciously did that for us. And
we had the lovely Abby Phillips organise
some sound effects for us.
Sound effects, which are a little bit too loud in the version up there at the moment.
Again, we ran out of time to really mix it well.
We'll fix that up.
Yeah, look, I think the idea is now that we actually will polish it up a bit, because, look, it did get to a point, and I think there was an earlier build that was tweaked, just happened to have the variables set about right, than the final one did, so there'd be a bit of tweaking there, but there was at least one build where we were just like, oh, this mechanic works really well, because basically the way the AI works is very, very basic, but you kick open some furniture. If there's a ghost in there, it pops out. It starts firing its own little homing sort of projectiles at you. But if you take its health down far enough, it runs off to try to find another piece of furniture to hide in.
Yep.
And it sits there and regenerates while it's in the furniture. But because the ghosts can go through walls, and they often, we made them so that they wouldn't get into a piece of furniture too close, you're not necessarily quite sure where they've gone.
Except for when you've hurt them.
Well, the regeneration is in there, but I think we'd probably speed that regeneration up a bit. So I think there would be the possibility that you literally would not be able to head in the direction of the ghost quickly enough sometimes to see which one it was in.
Yeah. I know that when we were testing it, sometimes it's like, oh, quick, Trev, get in here and watch where he's going, because I can't be stuck trying to work out where he's gone.
Well, but that's it. And that's where the teamwork came in, right? It's like, oh, I'm about to take this guy down. He's going to run. I need you to be ready to head him off in whatever direction he goes in,
yeah.
You know? And that's also where things like the stasis grenades or the attractors or whatever would come in. It would be about not letting them flee and regenerating some furniture somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, I'm really proud of what we put together in 48 hours.
And given that we're not artists, Ryan's definitely an artist, and he's done a fantastic job. There was no animation this time, but that's something that we plan to maybe put some animation in. Yeah,
of course. I know. I was disappointed I didn't get to mess with the cloth physics on the ghosts, but that would have been a waste of time.
It would have been. But no, we all worked together, and I think we did a pretty good job.
I think we were. Yeah, that's it. I think we worked together quite well. We only overscoped slightly, and still ended up with something. I mean, and we scoped it. We planned it in a way where not reaching our initial scope didn't make for a completely unplayable game, right? Like it wasn't all required to have something at the end. And I think that was part of what really sort of made it work.
Yeah, definitely. One of my favorite things that actually happened was the fact that we did get a win and lose condition in there. The worst part about it is, though, that the win and lose conditions are literally just debug messages
logs. Debug logs. So as a player playing the final version, you can't actually tell. But yeah, look, this is polish. It's also things like you can't tell, if you're reviving someone, because that is a mechanic we got in there, is that the lose state is when everybody is incapacitated, but if as long as someone's still alive, they can revive the others. As long as they can stay safe and close enough to them to do so.
Yeah.
Which, again, I thought was another good balancing act, and which we would also have to tweak. But it would, obviously once you get the UI in there, and Ryan put together some nice UI. Again, we literally just ran out of time to get it in there.
Yeah.
I think that would work a lot better.
We've got some health mechanics going. There's a lot of mechanics that we did actually get working. So
yeah, and this is the thing. I don't think it would take much time to just play around with those, polish them up a bit, get the UI in there. Start working on a couple different tools and things just to again test out those mechanics.
Yep.
And I think that's what we'll sort of start doing in our spare time. And we'll get that started up again.
I think the funniest thing was we got home, and about 3 minutes after I got home, I jumped back in, downloaded it, and fixed one of the problems that was giving me errors, because I was thinking about ways of fixing it all the way home.
Yeah. Because apparently Trevor's family doesn't need to see him after 2 days.
They weren't home yet. That's why I did it.
Okay. That's why you were able to do that.
Yeah. I jumped on straight away, and then as soon as they came home, I'd already finished the fix.
Yeah, the bill, yeah. So yeah, look, it was a whole lot of fun. We'll definitely do it again next year. I think Ryan had a lot of fun too, and will probably join us. And yeah, we'll
see if we can meet an animator and get him to come along.
yeah, that's what we need. Well, I think Ryan was planning to spend like the next year learning to animate well enough. Basically,
that's right.
But
if my plan comes to fruition, then I'll just bring the Kinect along and we'll do some actual animation using that.
Mocap studio at the Game Jam.
Mocap studio at the Game Jam.
Sounds good. All right. So cool. Yeah, look, check out the game. We'll put the link in the show notes. You can download it.
It's called Ghost Home.
It's called Ghost Home. was initially just called Ghosts, but then we called it Ghost Home. I think Ryan came up with that.
Yeah. And his little image that he did for it. It
was great.
And people who may think, what have ghosts got to do with what does home mean to you? Well, what home means to me is literally a house that is ghost free.
Yeah, that was our rationalization.
And
look, I think most people just took the word home as opposed to sort of the meaning thing, which is a little bit wishy-washy for a game. And I get why they did it, and I think some people did take sort of that whole meaning. But for us, it was just, well, you're in a house. Yeah, this is someone's home. Close enough.
And Ben may cut this bit out, but we are planning on doing a video series in which we play our game and then some of the other games as well.
Yes, I would like to do that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Ben came up with that idea, and there was a great one that I want everyone to sort of see from some of our friends that we met there.
Yes. I can't remember what it was called.
Herman's Hermits or something like that.
Yeah. There were a lot of hermit crab based games. Someone said like, oh, why did everyone go with ghosts? I looked, just in Melbourne, there were like 7 games that had hermit crabs in them out of 64. Yeah. Like that's more than 10%.
Yeah. What about ghosts?
I think like 3.
Yeah.
Like it was less.
Yeah. Way less. And that's just Melbourne. I wonder what it was like the world over. Yeah,
that'd be... Maybe we should just do a video series where we only play all the hermit crab based games. No, I would like. There were some really cool ones that I'd like to try out.
So, yeah, I'd like to get into that and show some of our favourites that we saw at the game jam.
Yeah, and look, I really enjoyed doing this stuff. We're sort of getting to learn Unreal Engine a bit more. I wish we had more time to do this because I love the idea of every couple of months doing like a Bitstorm jam and prototyping one of our games that we've come up with.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we have the time for that, so somebody else should do it.
No, but we just did something pretty awesome today, and hopefully we can get a move on with that because that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we do have other plans that mostly Trevor's working on, but some cool stuff.
What we worked on today, if I could get that working, I'm so excited for that.
Oh, I can tell. All right, so let's finish it up there.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to us ramble on about our Game Jam stuff. Go check out the game. Obviously, check out Bitstorm, which is our comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy or game design, where we literally sort of do this every single week without the actual making of the game bit. We just throw ideas together and talk about them. So check that out, and I'll see you later. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
Jam toast.